And now, my match of the night, the one that I'm
It,
excited for, however, is surprising as hell on who made it.
yes, really quickly before you do that, first buffer, please do not sue me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Scott Hall versus Jake the Snake Roberts versus Braun Strowman for my favorite title, the Universal title, meaning you are not only the best in the world, you're not only the best in the galaxy, you are the absolute best wrestler in the entire universe.
Yep, and this is honestly going to be a very interesting match. Normally, I would go into just about any Braun Strowman match, regardless who he's going against. And most likely, I'm going to think that Braun Strowman has it. That being
Yeah.
said, though, we saw a huge statement loss from Braun Strowman in week one against AJ Styles. We've seen even after that that there have been some losses. So it seems like maybe there's a bit of a roadblock or
And that
something there.
And then what bothered me the most is after those losses, instead of becoming a fighting champion, being like, I need to get my head out of this funk, I need to keep doing this, he took some time off, which
Yeah,
I think that
it's
hurt him more than helped him.
well, it's a risky move. It is without a doubt a risky move. You could absolutely do like you were saying and become more of the fighting champion, or you can take some time away and you almost kind of enter that zen, finding your inner self type of deal. It'll be interesting to see if he's been able to accomplish that and been able to get over that mentality, or if all of this has done is just simply fuel what has ever been holding him back this season.
Now, I think you do have to explain the matches that led up to Scott Hall and Jake the Snake getting this because that might actually influence our decisions a little bit.
Yes. So there were a couple of different matches, both triple threats, to go ahead and determine who was going to be going into this. Scott Hall ended up winning one. Jake the Snake ended up winning the other, Braun Strowman being the champion. What really makes this interesting, though, is I honestly, at first, I thought we were going to be seeing just based off of the little bit of booking that I had seen from Bubba Ruckus at the beginning, week one, week two. I thought by the end of this, we might be seeing, Cactus Jack versus Braun Strowman.
Right.
That was kind of where my head was going. So I was surprised to see this change up, and I think it may have been from the fact of Tug having to go ahead and take that time off from his injury and vacate the Discord title.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Um, Very unfortunate, but wish him the best of recovery. Um, thank goodness y'all were so quick on getting that fan out from last week here on Carnage.
Uh, it's funny though. I was looking at that match and that guy didn't do so bad. So I'm gonna have to hunt that guy down.
Yeah,
If he can copy Tug so well,
it.
I might have to hire him.
Oh, oh, okay, okay. I'm interested now. We'll see
Um,
what comes. You don't have to spoil
but
anything if
yeah,
you don't want to, but
no, no,
I'm
I haven't talked to him yet. But obviously we kicked him out because that's not okay for
yeah,
to be copying people's gimmicks. But he didn't wrestle too bad, so might have to go find that kid.
definitely. And you also have to take into consideration the fact of I was a little confused watching the match because I'm like, yeah, okay, this looks like Tug, but the build is just a little different. The
Right.
shoulders weren't quite as far out, the legs weren't quite as bulky, the chest was a little bit broader. Like there was just enough to make me wonder if this was really Tug. But much like you said, it's one, it's not okay to be copying people's gimmicks. Two, it's not okay to be going ahead and sneaking backstage and going ahead and full on just taking somebody else's gimmick over solely because of the fact that you want people to still see Tug even though he's injured.
What's kudos for that, man. That
That's
is fan material, but
that is absolutely fan material, and I have nothing but respect for it. But you shouldn't also be doing that. Uh,
right. And I'm
but
glad Asher was able to take care of it, but
yeah,
made me think
he
maybe there's some talent I'm missing out on.
yeah, and that's very much what I was thinking too, because of the fact of it, at the end of the day, yes, okay, should this person have done it? No, but he wasn't that bad in the ring. He was actually
Mm-mm.
pretty good, and the fact that he was able to copy so much of Tug's kind of playbook, so to speak, shows,
And well,
yeah, and well, and be able to hit the moves very well. It'll be interesting to see what potentially happens with that.
now back to this match.
Yes, back to this.
Scott Hall. Here's the thing that blew my mind. First, Scott Hall went against Noah and who else? I am drawing a blank on who
Noah
else.
and Kevin Owens, if I remember
And
correctly.
Kevin Owens. Which those two are no slouches.
No, without a doubt.
And Jake the Snake went against uh Batista and again I'm escaping on the other name. So he goes again. So um Jake Snake goes against Batista and Mark Henry. Again, two non-slouches. And for
Mm-hmm.
personally, I thought the Obsession and Mark Henry were going to steal it.
I was very much thinking similarly. I thought, don't get me wrong, no disrespect to Scott Hall, but if I honestly went into that first one thinking if Noah does not win this match, we're going to end up seeing Kevin Owens win.
Right. I
That was
thought,
my first thought instantly.
no offense to Scott Hall or Jake the Snake, I
Mm-hmm.
thought those two were going to be either, they weren't going to win. I thought it was either going to be Batista or Mark Henry or the Obsession or um,
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. And yet they both turn around and they both end up going for the triple threat. And
Yeah.
that's what kind of blew my mind, which means normally I would say, okay, they're not going to win against Braun Strowman. But with him losing a couple matches, taking time off, and then them proving us wrong to even get here in the first place, makes
Mm-hmm.
me think that they're going to come around and prove that they deserve the title, which means I am putting my vote entirely on Scott Hall.
Interesting.
My hope is Braun retains. I am a
Yeah.
personal fan of Braun Strowman, but I think Scott Hall will take it.
Here's here's what I'm going to say before I go ahead and put out my official prediction with it.
Okay.
Let's look at the physicality of everybody going into this, right? Jake the Snake, by no means a slouch,
No.
but his finisher is very nice and simple. It's the DDT.
Yep.
You go ahead and grab him in a headlock and you bring him down. Braun, he's big enough he could pick up either of those guys without a problem.
Oh yeah.
Razor has strength. I don't know if he has enough strength though to be able to pick up a guy like Braun Strowman for the Razor's Edge.
I imagine, but I agree with you. But here's what I think is going to happen. We've seen Scott Hall,
Mm-hmm.
Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, whatever one you want to pick. Here's what I think is what's gonna happen. Jake the Snake is gonna give a DDT to Braun Strowman. Strowman's gonna be dazed, out, whatever the case may be. This is later on in the match. Scott Hall is
Mm-hmm.
gonna come in and do the Razor's Edge to Jake the Snake and win the match. I think he's gonna
Okay,
sneak in for the win. I think
we're
he's
gonna
gonna wait
see the
until
bad guy go ahead and be the bad guy.
Exactly. I think he's gonna wait
Okay.
until Braun Strowman is dazed out of the ring, taken care of by Jake the Snake. He's not gonna be paying attention. He's gonna think he's going to win. He's either
Hmm.
gonna break up the pin or wait until Strowman's hurt and then go for it on Jake and take the win. He's gonna steal it.
You know, again, very much like you, I'd love to see Braun retain this.
Mm-hmm.
But especially after that kind of explanation, I have to agree. I think Scott Hall has this. I was thinking originally Jake, but Jake, don't get me wrong, he can play a little dirty for sure. We've seen it before in history.
Right.
But there's a reason that Jake is Jake the Snake Roberts and not Jake the bad guy Roberts. He is without a doubt the snake. He can be cerebral when he needs to be, but Scott Hall is always thinking in his best interest.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we're going to be seeing and new Scott Hall wins the Universal title.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end.
But
Okay.
again, thank you so much for sparing your time. Thank you all that are watching for sparing a moment to go ahead and kind of listen to us talk about these matches and see what is to come. And we will see you all in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks.